is all about, every week's a season, try to approach everything the same way. Can you do that this week, considering it's Clemson?
I think so. Like I said, after the Chattanooga game, I think when you try to change stuff up and make a drastic change, that's when you probably get worse. So I think we're in a really good mindset right now, and the team really is locked in. So just continuing on that is probably our best way to go.
When you think about this Carolina-Clemson rivalry that you've now played in a few times, what's the one thing that sticks out to you?
I think just the passion behind it. I think both sides are just passionate about their teams. And it's a day that, everyone looks forward to the whole year. And it's just a really great game to be a part of. And but yeah, the overall passion around it is probably just the thing that stands out the most.
Do you think it stays on the side of a healthy rivalry with the correct kind of passion? Does it ever, in your mind, cross the line to this is getting a little out of hand in one element or another?
I mean, I think, football is a passionate sport, and emotions are going to be there. But I think for the most part, it's been, a healthy rivalry, if you will. I think, it's just two teams battling it out.
Jake up here. Do you remember the last time you went up there? Do you remember any instances specifically where there was any hostility or people yelling at you? Or was it different than maybe going to Gainesville or going to Athens or anything like that?
I wouldn't say any different. I mean, their fans are, have an awesome atmosphere, and it's going to be fun to play in.
The year before you got here, were you watching that game when Debo kind of had his coming out party? What do you remember about just seeing from him that day and just how he played and all that?
Yeah, I thought he had a great game. And looked fast. I don't remember too much. I just kind of remember those two plays. I remember the fade route down there. It was a good throw by old Perry. But yeah, I think he had just a great game.
And how important will it be to have him involved early and to, I guess, give you all the best chance to get some points early on and stay in the game, keeping competitive?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to get him going. He's definitely one of our most explosive playmakers, and but I think not only him, I think everyone has to have a great game and really be locked in from the first whistle.
Jake, looking back at your experiences from your first two Clemson games, what have you learned from those games that are going to help you to beat Clemson on Saturday? And what are the things you learned that you absolutely can't do if you want to have a chance to win?
I think one thing it comes down to is just composure. I think all across the board, just keeping your composure throughout the game. I think if you get too wrapped up through the week of everything that goes in with this game, you can get bogged down by it, and even during the game, getting too wrapped up in the emotion. I think keeping your composure is the best way to go, and I think the team that keeps their composure the best probably has the best chance of winning.
Kind of tailing off that, Jake, when it comes to motivating your team as opposed to maybe even trying to do something that, say, your opponent can use against you, how do you balance the wanting and the desire to motivate your team, but also making sure that there's no bulletin board material, there's nothing that comes out that maybe could be used against you, that kind of thing, things you say, things you do? Yeah, man, I think everyone knows there's a great team. They're a great team, and you can say what you want to in the house, but at the end of the day, we got to go play on Saturday. And so I think everyone understands that no matter what's said or what's put out there, there's a game to go play, and we got to be ready to go.
Jake, do you or does this team allow yourself to think much about the losing streak and the motivation of wanting to end the losing streak against Clemson, or is that not part of preparation?
Yeah, I mean, you can't get too wrapped up into that. Just I think we had the mindset that this is the 2018 Carolina team against the 2018 Clemson team. So I think that's just the best way to approach it, and not to get too wrapped up in a streak or anything like that.
Jake, what do you think the biggest difference is between these two teams in the past couple years and during this losing streak? When you look back on it in the games that you played in, what's been the biggest difference between Carolina and Clemson?
They score more points than we did. At the end of the day, I mean, they played better than us the last 2 years, and they have a great team. And you know, it's fun. It's a fun game to play in. But like I said, I think they just the last 2 years executed better than we did.
Jake, I guess overall, what impresses you about their defense? And I guess, you know, what's your motivation against going to another top-ranked defense like that?
Well, I think that the main thing that jumps out at you is their D-line and up front. Just really good players that have played a lot of football. Not only played a lot of football, but played a lot together. You can definitely see that. You know, their secondary is, you know, good too. I mean, you know, they load the box and trust the guys that can make plays on the outside. So I think it's an overall great defense. And like I said, we've got to have a great week of practice and preparation leading up to it.
Jake, at times this year, it's been a point of emphasis to get off to a fast start when you haven't done that. The last couple of times you've played these guys, you haven't scored in the first half. How important is it to have success in the form of points on the scoreboard early on so that you're not playing from behind against the team that thrives on you playing from behind?
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think it's very important, like I said, to be locked in from the first whistle and to be locked in of what our, you know, starting plays are going to be and come out there with the right mindset and just see where that takes us. I think had a great week of practice today, so hopefully we can carry it on the rest of the week.
Jake, I know a game like this doesn't need to have any extra added motivation because, I mean, it just speaks for itself. And I know you personally stay away from social media during the season, but with the mindset that a lot of people have outside of the program, thinking that Clemson, you know, is going to go out there and roll you guys over, does it give you guys a little bit extra motivation?
We're just worried about what we can control, and that's how we prepare. That's our mindset going into the game, and that's how we play on Saturday. So we don't get too wrapped up into that and just focused on what we got to do each day to give ourselves the best chance.
Jake, is there any added kind of, I guess, crowd noise pumped into practice this week going up to Death Valley? And, I mean, do you do any extra nonverbal communication work with your offensive line or skill position players?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely pumped in. You know, it's a rowdy atmosphere for sure, and it's loud, and we got to be prepared to handle that. You know, I think just making sure we communicate well, and whether that's taking a few extra seconds to make sure we're on the same page, if that's what it takes. But I think for the most part, just getting reps out of practice is going to help us the most.
As someone who's played in a couple of these and has roots in the state, how do you explain the rivalry and just even the game aspect of it to your teammates who haven't experienced it in the past or haven't experienced something like this?
You know, I think you know, just growing up, you know, watching it and just being part of it now, I think it's just, you know, it's hard to explain until you really get out there. But I think, like I said before, it's just the passion that's wrapped up in it. I think everyone in the state, you know, it's a state championship, obviously. So I think a lot of people get really emotional for this game. But that's one thing that we got to control is our emotions and stay poised. But I think the best way to tell a guy is just to experience themselves.
Jake, I don't know how much you've gotten a chance to watch Clemson play, but from what you've seen, what do you think of Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think he's a great quarterback. I think his arm talent is off the charts. And, you know, as a freshman, to be able to come in there and play the way he has just speaks volumes for how talented he is. You know, he's a guy that can make every throw, and the team seems to really rally around him. His teammates seem to love him, so he's just a really talented guy.
Jay, going back to the crowd noise aspect, how does playing in Death Valley compare to some of the other venues you played in? And do you take more verbal abuse from the fans at Clemson than you do anywhere else?
You know, it's loud, and I think with any stadium when it gets to a certain point, it's just loud, you know. So, you know, it's definitely a very, you know, electric atmosphere. They're going to be fired up, night game. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's with every stadium, though, is the trash talk from the fans, and they get into it. And that's what you just love about college football, is the chance for the students and the fans to get into it. And it's just part of it. It's something that you grow up, you know, seeing on TV and in a way look forward to it, you know, just, you know, it's just part of it.
Jake, as an offense, do you guys put any pressure on yourselves to go out there and play a perfect game, knowing what kind of defense you're playing against?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to go there and play well, for sure. You know, a great defense, and so. But I think we can't just go out there and want to play well. I think we got to practice well and prepare the right way, film work, and I think that's the best way to attack.
How much does the final score of the last time y'all went up there motivate you guys this week, and how much has it come up this week?
It hasn't come up a lot. I think everyone knows what happened, and we didn't play well. I think we were a young team that got beat by a team with a lot of experience on it. But I think, like I said before, just the mindset that this is the two teams, that 2018 teams that are going to be battling it out on Saturday, and not to get too wrapped up in what has been before is going to be our mindset.
Jake, one of the stories Coach Chandler told me when I was down in Opelika was about you guys playing against in a 7-on-7 against Tavian Feaster in the rain double overtime. What do you remember about that experience and going up against him as a high school player?
Yeah, that was a fun deal. Playing Spartanburg, a lot of the coaches that were with my dad were actually on that staff, so that was a fun deal. I'm down there in Dalton, Georgia. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, he's continued to get better ever since then. I mean, he was a great player then. I think they probably threw it to him every play. But just to see him continue to grow and just turn into a really good player, it's been cool to see. A guy from the Upstate that's really doing well.
What do you remember about the double overtime?
Yeah, it was a fun game. We kind of like rolled out to the right and like threw one back to the left on some crazy play, and we won. It was fun. It was a fun deal.
Jake, kind of going off a little bit, is Thanksgiving a meal or a holiday?
See, it's this type of question I need right here. A meal or a holiday? I'd say it's a holiday. I mean, for sure. I think it's a great holiday, honestly. I mean, a time for just to look back and, you know, get so busy with football and just everything in general, and a time to really just be thankful for what you have. You know, family and just everything that's wrapped up in that.
Any Thanksgiving plans, and I guess what's going on your plate?
Yeah, so Wednesday we got one side of the family coming down, and then Thursday other side, and then my shoulder just finished at Murray State, so he'll be home, getting to hang out with us. So whole family will be here for, it feels like, first time in probably 4 years now. But yeah, so it'll be a fun deal.
So that leads me to two questions. Sorry, man. But the first one, just because you need another softball question.
There we go.
Is it easy for you to relax and kind of, you know, like celebrate Thanksgiving, knowing that in 48 hours you're going to play, you know, on one of the biggest stages in college football?
Well, yeah, I think you just got to compartmentalize everything and realize, like with, you know, kind of like in any away trip, there's a time to relax and there's a time to lock in. And I think, you know, when you're eating with family, it's a time to just relax and enjoy their company and just tell stories and just have fun. But then when it's time to watch film or practice or, you know, do whatever that's going to be involved with this game, it's time to lock in. So I think it's pretty easy to kind of, you know, balance everything.
When you look at this defense, there haven't been a lot of quarterbacks that have had success. What do you think the biggest key is going up against, you know, a great front four and a solid secondary?
Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's going to be, you know, taking care of the ball, number one. You know, I think that's, you know, the most important thing in every game, but definitely going to be important in this game. And then now holding on to the ball. I think because their secondary is very good and they're up front very, very good as well. I think if you hold on to the ball too long, they're going to make you pay for it. And whether that's trying to force one or taking sacks, I think that's kind of what you see. Guys are covered and their D-line gets to the quarterback.
Jake, these last couple of weeks you've strung together probably your best stretch of the season. Just going back to maybe the last 3 games, I mean, have you done anything different? Have you gone back to the basics? And what do you think has been the key for you?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to put it, is just going back to taking care of the football, number one, and having that at the forefront. And I think just you know, just continue to do what I'm doing, continuing the same path I was on, and just grow from from game to game. Nothing really changed drastically in film work or anything. I think I've done a better job of staying composed throughout the game. But other than that, kind of just, balancing a emotion, I think, is the only little thing I guess I changed, but nothing drastic in preparation or anything.
Growing up in the Upstate, you're talking about your family. Chase, Schuler, yourself, were any of you guys Tiger fans growing up, or did you have allegiances to either side, way before you started going into the recruiting process? Did you have a side that you guys rooted for, any of your brothers or yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think, my dad being at Burns for all those years, and we had guys go to both schools. And so I think we just kind of cheered for players more than teams. Willie Corn, Chad Deal, Buster Hunter, Xavier Dye, Clemson players, and then, Marcus, Nick coming here. So I think just players in general are really who we cheered for, not really any teams.
Jake, I know everybody talks about the players they have on defense, but facing Venables a couple of years now, is there anything just about his scheme or his play calling that I guess stands out or makes them so good on that side?
Yeah, I mean, you can tell they're not afraid to take chances. He really trusts his defense, in man coverage and bringing the heat. So, I think you can just tell he really trusts his guys, as he should. I mean, they've played a lot of football together, so I think that's the biggest thing that probably jumps out.
Jake, I know you can't tell us everything about Parker White, but can you tell us what he's like as a roommate?
Oh, Parker. He's an interesting guy. Plays a lot of Fortnite. I know that about him. No, I mean, he definitely plays a lot of video games, but that's kind of his thing. But he's a cool guy. He hangs out with us, and we just have fun together. Me, him, and Bailey just hang out all the time, and just whether it's playing video games or just going getting something to eat. Just a funny guy. He definitely likes to push my buttons all the time and get me mad and stuff. So he thinks it's funny. So, but definitely he's a cool guy.
Anything else for Jake? There you go. Appreciate it.
Good.